What is the secret to understanding an audience?
I don't understand them at all. I really don't. I just know what I like and make movies that I want to go see. Someday that'll change, but fortunately it hasn't.
And in terms of sequels, have you and Tom talked about Top Gun 3?
No.
No, not yet?
No, not a word.
And as you're thinking about the movie theater model, did Top Gun Maverick prove that it's alive and well, or was it an exception?
No, it's alive and well. You just got to make movies that embrace an audience. And unfortunately, the pandemic, we weren't making a lot of movies that really could play in theaters. Streaming has its place, theaters have its place. I always use the analogy, you have a kitchen, right? Mm-hmm. But you like to go out to eat. So it's not always you want to stay home and watch something on television. It's a group experience. It's exhilarating when you go to opening weekend and people are cheering and applauding for the right type of movie. And that's what happened with Top Gun. I went all weekend, the first weekend, and stood behind the seats at the Chinese theater and I'm watching the movie in IMAX and watch how exhilarated the fans were at watching that movie. And when you talk to people, most people haven't just seen it once. They've seen it twice or 3 times. One person wrote us, he'd seen it 100 times. So it's that kind of an experience you want to give to audiences every time you make a movie. Obviously, we can't do it, but every once in a while we get really lucky and we had the right people involved at the right time for the right audience. And the fact that we held it for 2 years was the best thing we could ever do. And the audience was ready to come out. I think this is the first movie where an older audience felt safe going into the theaters. A lot of people who saw the movie said, this is the first time they've been in a theater in 2 years. So it got them out because the people who saw it back in 86, 87 wanted to go back and see what we did. But you know what? They had their arms crossed. That was such a good movie. I know they're going to screw it up. So we had to overcome that first. So I think when you first hear that gong and you see those jets taking off, they relaxed a little bit.
This movie made a killing without China, without Russia. Does that prove that there could be a future for Hollywood without China and Russia?
Well, we'd love to have them. Unfortunately, the world politics, we can't get there right now. Hopefully that'll all change. Look, we'd love the whole world to see our movies. We make it for the whole world. The fact that Top Gun Maverick has made more foreign than domestic, you can just see how there's a worldwide audience for what Hollywood does. And even on a very American subject with American Flyers, they loved the movie because it was a great experience. It was something that you felt great when you walked out. It took you away from your problems for 2 hours, and that's exactly why I make entertainment.
Do you feel audience has evolved over time? And as you think about your audience now today, is that different than it was 20 years ago?
They just want to be entertained. That's all. That's all. Get them in the seat, entertain them, make them feel something. It doesn't always have to make them feel good, but give them completion at the end.
Well, and give them emotion.
Always emotion. It's always about emotion. The reason Bad Boys was such a big success, it was the biggest picture of, 21 or 20, because it was an emotional story.
You're working on Beverly Hills Cop 4 right now with Netflix. Is there a difference between producing for a studio or a streamer?
It's all for an audience, and that's what we key on. We want to make the audience enjoy what we do. And there's an audience at home, and there's an audience that leaves home and goes to the theater. But Top Gun is a movie you really have to go see in a theater. I mean, it's done phenomenal in streaming so far. It's been just great. I think it's the #2 of all time already. And it's something that when you watch it, you want to see it again because you felt so good.